Hi guys, let's get to some thinking. Yesterday we learned how to solve what we either call a variable equation or an algebraic equation, like these. Equation meaning has an equal sign in it, and variable or algebraic meaning it has an unknown value in it. And the strategy that most groups ended up settling on was called the inverse operation strategy. They would look at an easy one like this and say, okay, plus 6, add 6 is in the equation. So the fastest route to find the unknown value was to use what we call the inverse operation, which was to, in this case, subtract 6. The inverse of adding 6 is subtracting 6, and we got 4. And you could, of course, check then that that was right. 4 plus 6, if we substitute, is 10. And then if you got to, say, a harder one like this one, C plus 134 equals 375. The inverse operation would be the inverse of adding 134 was subtracting 134. And if I'm remembering right, that gave us 188 for this one. So we would say C equals 188. And that worked with any operation, so long as we remembered the inverse one. Like we go down to, say, multiplying. Same deal. C times 72 equals 936. Yikes, that sounds hard. But once you guys got the hang of it, it worked pretty good. So, okay, well, to find that missing value, if times 72 is in the equation, the inverse operation would be to divide by 72. And then if I pull up my calculator, 936 divided by 72 tells us that C would be 13 here. And of course, I always recommend checking. Use substitution to go back and check. And once you get an answer, make sure it's right. You can always tell if you're right on these, which is nice. If we're right, then if I put substitute back into my original equation, 13 times 72 should be 936. I can always check, see that it is 13 times 72. Am I right? I am. Way to go me. I'm so good at math. That's the inverse operation strategy. And we just barely touched on and got used to that yesterday. So what I'd like for us to do today is to think about applying that exclusively to what I said was coming up next yesterday, which is these problems with decimals in them. Those tend to be the hardest ones to do in your head necessarily. And so I want to make that conversion there. Let me trouble with my switch over. There I go. So today's thinking task all has decimals in them. There's adding to the variable, there's subtracting from the variable, there's multiplying with the variable, and there's dividing with the variable. That is in your stuff if you'll find it after the multiplication tables. And I want you to take some chances here today to see if you can figure out how to do these problems when they have decimals in them. I think you will find, using the same strategy from yesterday, that inverse operation strategy, will work for you quite well. So I have it organized like yesterday. These all have addition in them, and they get increasingly spicy. These all have subtraction in them, and they get increasingly spicy. And I think if you're used to that strategy, you'll be able to do these quite fast. So what I want you to do for your thinking task today is, can you figure out how to do these? I know it's hard to think on your own. No partners today, sorry. Unless you want to call somebody, that's fine with me. Then try to figure these out on your own. Thinking part of your day. Thinking is what you do when you don't know what to do. Can you figure out the missing values in each of these variable equations? Good luck. Off you go.